Good morning. Mike Dunnaway, the Flatland Fly Tyer here. This morning we're going to be tying a great little jig fly that's often used for Euro-nymphing, but it doesn't have to be. It can be used in like a two-bug rig with a strike indicator with this as the lead bug. And it's called a Duracell. And it's a fairly new pattern, I guess, but it's got some great features that just catch fish. So let's get to tying this thing. I've got a size 14 jig hook, short shank jig hook in the vise with a tungsten bead that's, this is the 7/64 tungsten bead in a copper. And we've got the beads seated, but it wiggles around a little bit, so we're going to use some 0.015 lead wire, a couple of wraps of that to seat that copper bead. Don't need any more than 2 wraps. We push the lead wire up into the slot of the bead. This is a tungsten bead. We got plenty of weight there to get this fly down into the fish zone. We're using a size 8/0 brown thread. Start that right in behind the lead wraps. Tie down that lead so it doesn't move around. Okay, now the bead is seated so it's not going to wiggle around on us at all during the tie or even when we're fishing it. Snip off our tag and continue building a thread base back to the bend of the hook. For the tail of this fly, we're going to use some Coque de Leon. It's great fibers for using it for building a tail. And so what we'll do is we'll take 6 or 8 of those fibers, pull them so they're sticking out straight from the quill, and cut them off. We want that tail to be a little shorter than the hook shank. Tie that in on top of the hook. Just like that, snip off our excess. Now we'll take some red wire that I dropped in my lap. Where'd it go? Well, we'll cut off another piece. It's escaped somewhere. That happens. I'll either find it or the vacuum cleaner will find it. I'll try not to drop this piece. Start wrapping that in up behind the lead wire wraps and tied in on the near side of the hook. Now for the body, we're going to use some brown ice dub. And this stuff's interesting. It's called brown, but it's got some purplish hues to it that really, I think, makes the fly distinctive. So we're going to pull out a pinch of the dubbing, very wispy stuff, and we're going to form as slender a noodle as we can make. Wet our fingers to help us. With ice dub, one of the tricks is you've got to apply a lot of pressure with your fingers when you're building your dubbing noodle. That helps adhere that to the thread. And we need just a couple of inches of dubbing noodle here. Build a tapered body up to the behind the bead, and then spiral our red wire through that ice dub up to and back of the bead. Helicopter that off, and notice I can pull down on my bobbin a little bit, pull up on the red wire, and it helps stabilize that while I'm helicoptering the wire off. Breaks off nice and clean. All right, now for probably the hardest part of this fly is the soft hackle. And in order to make this work, we're going to use some Col de Canard. It's a very wispy feather. We're using this in a slate gray. And to prepare the feather, grab it by the tip and stroke those fibers so they stick out from the stem. Now we need a couple of tools to make this work. We're using a couple of clips by Stoneflow, and the way we do this is we're going to take this stem and we're going to hold each end, and we're going to force that down into the opening in the clip. I'll do that off camera, then show you what it looks like. Okay, so the stem is down inside the clip, and the tips of that feather are exposed. Now we take our other clip and capture those fibers and very carefully release the first clip. And that leaves the feather stem slightly above the top of the clip. Be careful at this point not to pinch the clip because you'll lose the feather. We're going to cut the stem off, and be careful not to pull with your scissors when you're cutting, or else you'll pull that feather out of the clip. So just clip off very carefully. And that leaves some of that feather exposed. Set the clip and the feather aside for a moment, and then we're going to build a dubbing loop. loop. Wrap our thread around the loop. A couple of securing wraps. Then take our dubbing twister and put that in the thread. The way this works is if you pull on the dubbing twister, the ends of it come together and closes up the gap to capture our thread fibers. Then slide the clip in, take it to the top, pull on the dubbing twister, and while it's pulled, then we can start our twist. Once the twist is started, we can give it a spin up all those fibers. Okay, now we can transfer our dubbing loop to our hackle pliers. And remove our dubbing twister. Now take our hackle pliers and wrap our feather fibers around the hook, and wet your fingers and stroke those fibers rearward. So it becomes a really wispy, soft tackle. This Col de Canard is really fine stuff. Okay, we'll capture our dubbing loop. Snip off our excess. Stroke those fibers back and give a couple securing wraps. And you may have some extra long fibers that you don't like. If you don't care for those, just pinch them off or break them off. Really don't hurt anything. And in the water, these fibers all fold back along the fly, giving it a real nice buggy appearance. Now our last step is to take the very smallest amount of that eye stubbing, the brown eye stubbing, that you can capture. I mean really small, just very few fibers. That's all we need. And build a very slender dubbing loop, only about 1/2 inch long. All we're going to do is to build up a little collar around that fly. There we go. That's all we need. Now we can whip finish. And a small drop of head cement. And there we have the completed Duracell fly. Very effective, in particular on tailwaters. Okay, now one little fly tires tip, and that is on this Coq de Leon that we use for the tail. We've got all these stiff fibers that make great tail fibers. Then we've got all this fluff at the bottom. A little hint is you can use that fluff if you want on this same fly as a soft tackle as well. What you do is just take your material clip and clip that on, and then you can cut off the stem, and this makes a great substitute material for that Col de Canard. Give that a try. I'll show you what that looks like in a completed fly. So it looks very similar to the Col de Canard. So there you have the Duracell. Give that a try and have fun fishing it.